You have to be patient in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
You have to wait for your opening in jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
Whenever your opening shows itself, you cannot hesitate. You have to go in for the kill.
This week we sat down with Jared Conques of Gladiators Academy and Ragin Fighting Championships. And I have to tell you, it was so inspiring to listen to somebody who's in athletics to discover the relationships it has with business and the disciplines we need to create, the habits we need to create. I'm always fascinated by that, and I think you're really going to enjoy this episode. Here's Jared Conques.
Whenever we met for the business breakfast, I'm going to say, when was that? Like maybe about
2 months ago.
2 months ago. Yeah. It was really cool. And, always appreciate kind of getting out there networking. The older I get, the more I realize your net worth is your network.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not necessarily what you know, but sometimes who you know.
That's right.
Because you can know a lot, but if you don't know the proper people to kind of put in place,
yeah,
I mean, your knowledge is useless until it becomes action.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
and I love that. That's really,
Yeah.
that's really good. Your knowledge is useless until it becomes action, because that's what it's all about. I'm a big planner, strategic guy, but unless you can execute on or take action, you got nothing.
It's potential, and I think potential is a very dangerous word.
Yeah,
potential means you have all the capability of doing something, but you haven't done anything yet.
Yeah,
it's unrealized.
Yeah,
and the best example I used to give that was I used to run a jiu-jitsu gym in Breaux Bridge, Louisiana, and it was right across the street from St. Bernard Church. And in Breaux Bridge, you're looking at the church, it's right in front of you, and you veer off to the left, and they have the graveyard. And I'd tell my students whenever they'd be acting up or they wouldn't be giving me as much effort as I thought they needed to give me, I would bring them to the glass front of the building and then have them look at the graveyard. I was like, "You'll see the graveyard?" And they were like, "Yeah." So I said, "That's where the most talent in the city is, in that graveyard right now." And I said, "People took it to their grave with them. They didn't use it." It says your job is to use every ounce of talent while you're on this on this planet, because you only get one crack down here. The only thing you really bring to the grave are your regrets, and your job is to make sure your pockets are empty of regret by the time that day comes.
And like you said, unrealized ideas, right? If you didn't take action, it's going to literally go to the grave, like you said.
Yeah, I think whether it's business deals, whether it is personal goals, anything like that, the biggest killer of deals is time. People wait.
Yeah, no doubt.
They always think they have time until they don't.
Yeah, that's why I say success loves speed.
Oh, yeah.
It really does.
Absolutely.
So speaking of success, you've enjoyed a lot of it so far in your career. But before we get going on the gyms and the fighting and all this, I really want to know about not your childhood, but let's talk about how you came up, because I'm a little fascinated, Jared, on how you get to where you are, right? From I'm graduated high school and you end up in, teaching people jiu-jitsu and martial arts and fighting. It's fascinating to me.
It's definitely been a journey. And like most journeys, it's been filled with a lot of triumphs and also a lot of failures. I was born and raised in Lafayette, Louisiana. I spent the better half of my adolescence in public school, and then from about 4th, 5th grade on, I went to private school. So I've kind of experienced kind of both worlds. One thing I think that makes my story unique and interesting is I remember coming up in a household where both parents worked, and they scraped for everything. A big night out was maybe me, my older brother, and my 2 parents splitting a large pizza from Dino's and renting a movie.
Yeah,
people used to rent movies. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's right.
And then my dad opened his own commercial refrigeration business and did extremely well, and that afforded our family a lot of opportunities that if he wouldn't have took that risk, otherwise wouldn't have happened. So I guess you could say the entrepreneurial bug kind of bit me whenever I was able to witness that. Both of my parents,
you saw that transformation
in action. Yeah, going from not having to wanting for nothing is incredible. And when you're a kid living in that situation, you don't have a full appreciation of it until you get older and understand the sacrifices that went into it.
Yeah, look back.
My mom was still working a full-time job, would come home, help my dad with the paperwork. My dad would sometimes not get home till 6:30, 7 o'clock, and he was up and at 'em before we were up at school. Many of missed vacations where he stayed behind and worked to tend to the business and things like that. And that's where a lot of the lesson of just showing up really kind of clicked for me. I think in business, people try and figure out what the newest marketing tool, or I got to have this email that's going to reach X amount of people, or this post has to go viral. Sometimes it's as easy as just answering the phone and showing up when you tell people you're going to show up. So I went to St. Genevieve Elementary School and then graduated from Turlings Catholic.
Yep.
While I was at Turlings, I lettered in both football and wrestling. Obviously, football didn't work out. I was too short, too small, not good enough. And I found wrestling to kind of keep me in shape for football.
Coach Mason?
Coach Kent Mason, absolutely. My man. I saw he was here a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
They just wrapped up. He had 2 state champions and came in 3rd this past weekend. So Coach Mason, the wrestling program at Turlings, very integral part in my development, not only as a human being, but also kind of dictated the path that I was going to go down. I didn't even realize it.
Wow.
You finish playing high school sports, and if you're a competitor, the fire never leaves you. You just figure out different things to compete at. And I was lucky enough to graduate with a guy. His name's Ross Frederick, and his sister, who just so happens to be very good friends with my wife. His brother-in-law was Tim Crater, who was the first Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt UFC fighter out of Breaux Bridge, Louisiana. And he said, "Man, I know you like wrestling and football, real physical. You should come check this out." And he invited me to my first jiu-jitsu class. And at the time, it was being run by, it was a school owned by one of Tim's students, Michael Lopez. It was Cajun Karate. It was off of College Saloon, where Lucia Bakery is now, all the way on the other end of the shopping center. And we would train 2-3 times a week. Tim was kind of still working in Houston for, it was like Sprint at the time, or he was doing some geographical mapping company out there. And then the opportunity for him to move closer to home presented itself. He started training with us more. And then, Mike only offered training for my schedule Monday, Wednesday, and Friday nights. Tim was open whenever, wherever. So we would get off of college and just go train for 2-3 hours. So I kind of hitched my wagon to him at that point. And
so at this phase, you were really just training, getting into the sport.
Into the sport, absolutely. Yeah, okay, that was 2005 to about 2009.
Okay.
And then I got the opportunity to start teaching at a school in Alexandria. And I want to say it was mid to late 2010. Started driving up there once a week to teach a class. And that's where the importance of showing up pays off. I would drive once a week from Lafayette while I was still in school, college, to Alexandria to teach jiu-jitsu to 2-3. On a big night, we had 4, 5, maybe 6 people.
Yep.
And
but you loved it.
I did love it, but I'd be sitting here lying to you if I told you it wasn't tough. Leaving my fiance at the time, to go drive an hour and a half, which it's a brutal drive, driving to Alexandria to go teach 4 or 5 people. I loved what I was doing when I got there, but after going a full day of school and then work and then having to drive and then know you had to drive back after, it would wear on you. And that's whenever the discipline of just showing up really paid off, because the guy that owns the school, Clint, off of what we started back in 2010, now he's got 2 schools that have over close to, one of them's got over 100 members. The other one's in Church Point. Eunice. That he's got about 60 to 80 members that started off of me just showing up and helping him teach those 4 or 5 guys. So the power of showing up kind of manifested itself for him and his academy.
Yeah, I love that. Stuff. I love that. Yeah. So how long before you started or started teaching and then became, I guess, more certified and whatever, and then started that first club or gym or whatever you call it?
I taught in Alexandria for probably about a 6 to 8 month period before I graduated college, and then I had a full-time job at that point. And that's whenever I had to make the decision, be like, hey, look, I know it's kind of growing a little bit, but I got to be honest with you. This isn't working out schedule-wise for me. So I had to leave my coaching position in Alexandria. I took a coaching position in Lafayette at the time, Gladiators Academy of Lafayette, as a coach. I was the coach that was in charge of the beginner class. I was every Monday and Wednesday from 6 to 7 o'clock. I started that class off with 6 people. And that was probably around the summertime. And then by December, I had grown a class that averaged 6 people in Lafayette till we were averaging around 30 to 35 people Monday and Wednesday nights. At that point, I was awarded my brown belt. I was also awarded the BJJ Revolution Team Instructor of the Year and for Gladiators Academy of Lafayette.
Good.
And once that happened, that's whenever discussions kind of really ramped up. I was a brown belt at that time. I was in the job, my day job I was working, I had the flexibility to where I could open a satellite school. In the meantime, this is where life kind of gets crazy. In the meantime, at that point in time, my now wife and I decided we wanted to try and start a family. So we had been trying for a family for about a good year, and about a year and a half of we would try negative, and we were both like, you go through all those emotions. Is something wrong with me? Is something wrong with her? Is this just not meant to be? You want a child so bad, and we decided, hey, look, this opportunity, we're going to take a break from trying to start a family. Let's go ahead. Let's open up a gym. That'll be our baby. We'll take care of it, and if it's meant to be, it'll be. So we opened up the gym in May of 2015. Everything's going good. First month, hammering out, getting members in the door. June's going great. And then July, my wife starts to feel very, very ill. And we try and figure out what it is, and she's pregnant.
Yep.
And,
it's so weird how at so many stories you just relax and let it happen. It's just great. Pressure adds a lot.
And I think it was a combination of the pressure, whenever you start to follow like the schedules and, this is going on at this time during this date, it doesn't, it becomes more of a chore than anything.
Yep.
And once the pressure was kind of taken off from all that, it kind of allowed life to happen. And, we welcomed my daughter into the world March 20th of 2016. The gym kind of really took off from there. Everything was great. We were doing incredible, averaging around 120 students in Breaux Bridge, Louisiana. And then COVID hit. Whenever COVID hit, as we all know, jiu-jitsu was one of those things that was non-essential and was close contact, to the point where whenever they did shutdowns, we were going in there and filming videos, and every now and again, law enforcement would drive by. I was like, are y'all gathering in here? Because we had an all glass front. Really kind of crippled us for a little while. Had to really kind of make some concessions, kind of figure out what I wanted to do at that point. And luckily, the shutdown didn't last long enough to where I had to close. I had enough in my reserves and business to kind of keep things kind of flowing, because even though COVID happened, people still software, student software still need to get paid. Rent still need to get paid. And, we kind of, limped through that, lost about a third of our student base from COVID that just didn't come back. And then we built it back up again. And, but between the Gladiators Academy is the HQ in Lafayette, the one that I manage now. It's sort of like the headquarters. We have gyms in Youngsville, Breaux Bridge, and Crowley now. All are independently owned, but fall under the team umbrella. Okay. And it's just really crazy. I know jiu-jitsu has definitely changed my life for the better. It makes me more patient, a lot more stoic. I don't react to aggressiveness as fast. Why? Because whenever you fight every day, the last thing you want to do when you're not at the gym is fight. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it gives you an opportunity to, whenever you see people compete in combat sport atmospheres, you see all those emotions. You see what people are going through. You see the heightened animosity and the anxiety as, bell time gets closer and closer. And one thing that translates to is you can also recognize those same emotions in people when they're being aggressive. And what that allows me to do is, whenever I see tensions and anxiety and emotions starting to rise in a situation where, oh, I've seen this before. This looks like, I've seen this before a fight. That's whenever you grab your loved ones and you leave the situation. And, it's given me that ability to protect my family in that sense.
So you've developed a sense when things are getting either dangerous or not in a situation where you want your family.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I'm as I'm listening to you and you're talking about the pressure and the stress as bell time starts to come. Yeah. The same thing happens in business, right? When you have a presentation or you have some kind of accountability, has the art of jiu-jitsu helped you as a business leader?
It has. You have to be patient in jiu-jitsu. Yeah. You have to wait for your opening in jiu-jitsu. Yep. whenever your opening shows itself, you cannot hesitate. You have to go in for the kill, because once that window closes, it's closed, and you gotta do the setup process all over again. Of, okay, say we're wrestling, I have to create openings for me to strike. Once that door closes, well, now I'm back to, okay, now I got to go back and do that work all over again, create those openings again, and hope that the submission or the move is still going to be there, because they've already seen my setup once. Yep. Now you have to come at a different angle because you already lost the first opportunity. Now you have to recalibrate and come back at a different angle to try and win that person over, get that person to stay, yep, change that person's mind, things like that.
Yeah, and the truth is, and again, I always take a business angle. It's just the world I live in. The same thing you're talking about is sales. The same thing you're talking about is leading people. Not take the kill, right? But take advantage of growing and learning and sharing an opportunity. Man, I love that, and I love though. So do you think, from both your experience and someone who's a student, would gain those same lessons and be able to apply it in their life or their business?
I think so.
I think so too.
And I know so, because I have definite proof in some of my past students. I had a guy who was working for a local oil field company, and he had kind of risen up through the ranks as high as he could go, given his education. And it was just taking too long to get new schools to pop up. And if a school would pop up, there'd have to be an opening for him to go and get these updated certifications and things like that. And he came to the gym one day, and he had brought an application, and he wanted me to sign off on it. And he was like, I'm a little nervous right now. This is the first time I really put myself out there. It's something new. I'm probably not going to get it, but I got to give myself a chance. And he said, I would have never brought this to you if you weren't the one that gave me the confidence to put myself out there. And the guy sent in the application, got his interview, got a follow-up interview, got hired, and this guy now works on the rockets that SpaceX is shooting up in the
No kidding.
Yep.
I love that story.
He put himself out there for SpaceX, and I think it's also a testament to, we hear about it all the time. I know there's been a real popular commercial about the paper ceiling of having a diploma. I would much rather take somebody who doesn't have a degree but is going to show up, be willing to work, be willing to learn, and can be coached and be taught, over somebody that goes and just gets a diploma and now thinks, this is my ticket.
Yeah, and I don't need to continue growing or educating myself.
The rent is due every day for success, and you got to be willing to pay it, or
that's right.
You can't give average effort and expect extraordinary results. You have to be willing to go above and beyond.
That's exactly right. Well, I love that story, and that's perfect for our show and what we're trying to do, man.
And it's not like we're giving anybody like these tools. Like people are like, well, when do you know? It's a creeper. It comes on slowly, but when you need it, it's there. Probably my biggest success story as a child, and he's now an adult. He's a child male from Breaux Bridge. Whenever this kid started with me, he couldn't even look you in the face. He would always ask for reassurance. And I mean, sometimes you get some cases in jiu-jitsu and martial arts where, they come from troubled background, abused at home. This kid's parents are top-notch people. Trust my family with his parents. Couldn't ask for a better family. The kid just had confidence issues. Couldn't look you in the face, would talk to you, look at the ground. And over the period of about 6-7 years of jiu-jitsu, he went from not being able to, look at his coaches in the face, or always kind of questioning his actions, to before he left, because he was valedictorian at his high school and they got a full ride scholarship to college up north. He was leading the warm-ups for the adult classes while the instructors were kind of telling the kids bye. And this is a teenager that was leading adults. And it's like, you give somebody the gift of confidence, it's better than any other gift.
I can't agree more. And I think we have an epidemic in this country of lack of confidence. And I don't know really what it comes from. I know that certain generational baby boomers, Gen X, Gen Y, and all that, I don't keep track of all of them. But I will tell you that kids coming up today and my kids' age, dude, they lack confidence. In communication is one thing, but not achieving and building habits that create that confidence has to be part of it.
I wholeheartedly agree. I see from where I'm at, and this is just my perspective. Doesn't mean I'm right. Also doesn't mean I'm wrong. But there are so many people on social media telling these kids what confidence looks like, what success looks like, that they're confused.
Yeah.
That they instant gratification. If it doesn't work right away, I was wrong. One thing I see in martial arts is I'm not going to call masculinity toxic because I don't believe in toxic masculinity. I think masculinity is healthy.
I hear you.
I do think there is a influx of hypermasculinity where you have a bunch of guys going around, well, this is what manliness looks like. And one thing I don't agree with is how, like, you should always, you stay prepared. Yeah. But everybody that's going to approach you in a grocery store or even panhandlers or somebody that bumps into you in the store, they're not a threat that you need to assess, like, can I kill this guy right away? Like you sound like a clown, dude. People that that's their first, I think people that their first reaction to the bump, oh yeah, pull, you're weak. You're mentally weak. You can't use your words to diffuse the situation. So you've resorted to physical violence.
Yeah.
And one thing we found through our training is that there are a bunch of people out there that are not very skilled in physical violence.
Yeah, sure.
And I think the only thing worse than no confidence is false confidence.
Yeah, yeah.
And that there's
that's a really good point too. Bro.
It's true. I've seen a bunch of people walk into our academy. Oh yeah, that stuff don't work. I can tell that's some okay. Sign the waiver, and we'll teach you real quick.
Takes about 15 seconds.
Absolutely. I also believe social media too is kind of eating away at the psyche of people, especially current news cycles, things like that. And regardless of on which side of the line you fall, when it comes to that, I really don't care. Are you a kind human being?
Yeah.
Are you respectful? Those things kind of get lost in a political and religious ideologies and identities.
Yep.
I know I'm getting a little off base here.
No, it's related. Trust me.
And this is sometimes some things like, I guess you could say we struggle with. And we're in the South. I went to Catholic school. Christian faith is evolution. I think. Evolution's humans are bigger. We're bigger, we're faster, we're stronger. Evolution is correct. Now, what you believe evolved from what? That's your own personal belief. But evolution is true. And I think one thing social media has done is social media has connected all the humans in the world a lot quicker than our brain and our psyche can evolve to handle all that information and all those problems. And I think that's where people get frustrated. And that's where people kind of you can lose hope because you're inundated with bad news. GoFundMe here. This lady has cancer. Yep. This kid got run over at a Mardi Gras parade. Can you believe this is going on? And there are higher ups that know about it. It's like, we need to turn the noise off.
Yeah, so hyperbolic, and they're trying to get you to do, and they're very, very successful at not just social media, but the networks. It's attract you, get eyeballs on you. And so they keep running the same scary stuff and keeping you hooked.
It's marketing.
It's marketing.
It's marketing. I'm going to show you.
It works.
I'm going to show you a problem. I'm going to make you scared of that problem.
That's right.
And then guess what I have over here? I have the answer for it.
Yeah.
And that's I know you're a marketing guy too. I think in this climate, especially in the circles that I run in, I think people are just tired of being sold to.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Whenever, if you didn't even have to see a Super Bowl commercial to be marketed to at least 100,000 times before the end of the first quarter.
Oh look, wake up and take a shower. You've seen Gillette, you've seen Dove soap, you've seen
everything.
You've seen so many things that you don't recognize, right? You don't realize it, but your brain is going 1,000 miles an hour from the second you wake up to then get in your car and go, should I run this yellow light? I mean, is this on Zoom or is this live? We have too much going on,
and we wonder why relationships are failing. Is because
that's right.
whenever everything is marketing and everything becomes a transaction, sort of those relationships in our day-to-day lives. And it's our job to kind of pilfer through and, see what deserves our attention versus what doesn't deserve our attention.
That's right.
Because just because it's in front of your face doesn't mean it deserves your attention.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest tools I'm still currently honing at my age is learning to protect my peace over protecting the idea that I have to be right in a certain situation.
100%. Yeah, because this desire to be right gets you in so much trouble. I mean, you just show your true nature. It's exhausting.
There are people that are more obsessed with being right no matter what the cost.
Yep, no doubt about it.
And that's it's.
Dude, I'm telling you that the underlying, like the common denominator is confidence or lack of confidence.
Yeah,
I swear to you, because if you had true confidence and your belief in what you can do and what you can't what you can't do, then why be right? You don't have to.
I look at everything confidence encompasses, though. Confidence encompasses the ability to confidently say, yes, I can do something.
Yep.
The ability to confidently say no and be okay with the fact that you don't know, or no as a boundary. Ability to set boundaries is a huge one. Not only just set the boundaries, but stick to the boundaries. Confidence in the ability of knowing that while you may not see the value that I hold, I know the value I hold, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, and honor and respect the people that hold those things.
And I tell people all that, and I tell my students this is that be you, be unapologetically you.
Mm-hmm.
Like Shakespeare said, to thine own self be true, because at the end of the day, you have to live with yourself. Now, if you're a shitbag, that's on you. You have to live with the fact that you're a shitbag. I don't. I can go to, I do right by two people, three people in my life: myself, my wife, and my daughter.
Yeah.
That's the only people I have to answer to in this life. And as long as I'm doing right by them, I can lay my head down at night and go to sleep and know that I tried my best. Sometimes my best was good enough. Sometimes my best was not good enough, but I tried my best.
That's right.
And as long as I can approach each situation understanding that I gave my all and put my best foot forward and gave the effort that I thought it deserved, the outcome's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Because if you keep chipping away at it, that outcome, if it was bad when you gave your best, sooner or later, that wheel's going to turn, and the tables, they always turn. Yeah. And one day you're going to be on the mountain, but. Like I told my students, you can't get to the top of the mountain unless you start at the bottom first. Ain't nobody's dropped halfway up.
I always say that if you take a helicopter and you put a business leader at the top, they don't know all the rocky cliffs and the way down, so they're going to fall off.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The people that crawled up, they know it. So I want to get back because I believe everything you're talking about is why you've been successful with the Bro Bridge store, and then you end up coming to headquarters and you're running this one, right?
Yeah.
What I love about what you said is we're not financially related to these other companies, but we take a team approach.
Yes.
Dude, that's huge. That's a big deal.
Absolutely.
And so you're now running the Lafayette location.
I run the Lafayette location.
Gladiators.
Yeah. I just wrapped up selling.
Academy.
I just wrapped up selling my Bro Bridge gym at the beginning of February. About mid-January, beginning of February. There's still a few loose ends to tie up, but for the most part, I was able to move forward from Bro Bridge.
Yep.
I had a student of mine that was in a good position to move forward with taking over. His skill set was unquestioned, and he was looking for something to go ahead and kind of further his education, both in jiu-jitsu as becoming a leader of a team, and also to run a business. The guy's he's extremely great people person. He's doing incredibly well. And the decision for him to take over was not something where he came up to me. It was like, yeah, I'll sell it. And then we got everything done over a period of, 2 or 3 months, quick sell. The wheels had been turning for this probably for about a good year and a half. And we agreed to it because we wanted the transition from ownership from me to him to be as seamless as possible, because we knew how people would be whenever, new ownership. Oh, well, I'm gonna follow this guy over here, and you lose people right away. We wanted it to be as seamless as possible, and we were able to achieve that goal. So Brobridge is up and running on its own. Without me, it was 10 years. It did its job for me and my family at that time, but it was just time for me to move past. I couldn't be in Brobridge as much as I needed to be. And if I was going to have my name on something, not to say this guy's not doing what he's supposed to do, but I wanted to be there a little bit more if I was going to have my name attached in that capacity to it.
Like our guest just mentioned, chaos has a way of creeping up in our business, and it's confusing. It causes delay, and it's really, really expensive. I want to invite you to take our Erase the Chaos business assessment. It takes about 10 minutes to take. You'll get a free PDF report, and you'll have the tools you need to grow without chaos. Now, back to the episode. What was that difficult letting it go?
It was and it wasn't.
Yeah, I get it.
You there's a regret, like, man, you really built this up and you feel like you're cutting your child loose. But then there's also the relief of not having to worry about that anymore.
That's right.
It's sort of it's bittersweet, bittersweet for sure. And I mean, I'm always going to have a place over there, because that's how the community is. But he's part of that. He's part of the big four of the Gladiators gyms. And whenever you're looking at tackling a problem, it's not only is it good to have one mind, but when you have other minds that are also in the same industry as you, chances are they're experiencing a lot of the same problems you have. And hey, this worked for me, this didn't work for me, and it's just another resource, another network. Adding to your net worth, things like that.
Yeah. Do you guys, no trade secrets here, but do you guys get together like a mastermind group and kind of compare notes?
We do. Nothing formal.
Yeah.
But perfect example was last week I called the owner in Youngsville, and I was like, hey, just checking in. How's your month going? You got any issues going on with your gym? And he did have an issue. And, sometimes whenever you're in these problems alone, it can be very lonely. And to know that other people are, hey, while I'm not experiencing what you're experiencing, I can empathize with you. And this is what I think. I think you're doing it helps kind of calm the crazy in your head whenever you overthink a problem and think like, okay, I'm not crazy for thinking this way. They feel this way as well.
Yeah. And you probably just because you feel like you're on an island by yourself. And so, dude, I'm going to challenge you to consider getting everybody together maybe once a month and just setting some kind of mastermind agenda and allowing people to have hot seats and let's work on your company, and do that. I know that I do it for clients, but I see the value in that peer learning and peer teaching is incredibly valuable. So just think about that.
What's crazy is that one thing we do, and part of what we do at Gladiators is train MMA fighters, and then that ties into the Ragin Fighting Championship that I'm also a part of. I'm the sponsorship manager for them. We have calls once a week where everybody kind of goes over, hey, look, this is my responsibility. This is what's working for me right now. This is where we're at. This is where we're struggling. People kind of put ideas out there, and we have like a better map moving forward to kind of put on as best a show as we can.
Yeah. I want to repeat that because I don't want it to get lost. You at Gladiators, you train MMA fighters.
I train an MMA fight, yes.
And from that, you have Ragin
FC.
Fighting Championships?
Yes. Ragin Fighting Championships is born of some guys who competed MMA. While our gyms are closely tied to the brand, it's completely separate. Like Gladiators doesn't own the other guy is Aaron Phillips at Head Kicks. He doesn't, his Head Kicks gym doesn't own RFC.
Got it.
That's a joint partnership outside of the gyms to kind of give our fighters a place to develop in a safer environment. Promoters don't always have the best interest for the fighters at hand because they're more at the bottom line of the show. We started RFC as a means to elevate the promotion, not just for the viewer, but for the fighter as well. We take care of these fighters. Part of being a fighter, as always, you have to have your blood work in to have safe sport, but we're taking care of these guys, kind of providing them with fight gear. They come in, kind of giving them opportunities, meet and greets with sponsors after weigh-ins to where they can kind of start to build their personal brand.
I love it.
Kind of going above and beyond for the fighter to make them say, hey, look, whether I win or lose, this promotion is doing a lot to help, further my career, further my teammates' career, and it makes them want to come back and fight for us again in the future.
And from a public perspective, MMA has gotten it's just crazy.
Went from being human cockfighting to now major networks are getting in bidding wars over who can televise it. It's crazy.
So from my perspective, it seems like it's bigger than boxing today. Is it? Or I mean, I don't know. It's huge.
It's overtaken boxing, I believe.
Yeah.
Boxing kind of cannibalized itself with nasty promoters. Too many belts in boxing.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you who's the WBC, WBA, IBF, IBA, like how many champions are there, where it's like in MMA, it's kind of like recognized like UFC champions are the best in the world.
Yep.
Now that there is more money in boxing, and boxing is bigger in other parts of the world, so that could be a very Americanized view.
Yeah,
that I believe UFC is bigger, but it's definitely the fastest growing sport in the world right now.
So what do y'all have coming up in the Ragin?
March 28th at the Youngsville Sports Complex, we're going to be putting on our 5th show. Last year we did a show at the Youngsville Sports Complex to start the year off. And then we followed it up with a show at the Cajun Convention Center. We went to the Lake Charles Central Civic Center. And then we wrapped up the year at the Cajun Convention Center for a big end of the year blowout. And then we're going back to Youngsville Sports Complex for the first show of the year. Tickets are still on sale right now at raginfc.com. The show will sell out. Our last show at Youngsville, the fire marshal was at the door counting heads because arousing success.
We'll put the website at the bottom of your show notes. But when you mean show, it's an event. It's a paid event. People come in and you can watch different bouts, or what do you call the?
It's a bout. So you whenever you show up to the show, you walk in, you have your seat. And there's a cage set up in the center. We have like the hanging lights off the trusses. Mm-hmm. If now Youngsville Sports Complex doesn't have the equipment for the hanging trusses, so we have like the jacks that kind of have like the professional lighting. Yep. And then we have a full on amateur card, and then we follow it up with about 3 or 4 pro bouts, and then that's the evening. Yeah, fight card usually averages between 11 to 14 fights.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you have the amateurs, which amateurs don't get paid a purse if they win, and then towards the end of the night, usually have about 3 or 4 pro fights on the card as well.
Yeah, I love that. That's amazing. And what I do love too is these people train. They're professionals, and they're as safe as they can be. Right?
Absolutely.
I mean, you think it's a pretty safe sport outside of?
Oh, 100%. I've played football, and I'm still dealing with injuries from football. I've been doing this since 2005, 2006. There's, outside of a little soreness as I get older, it's really hard to explain that to people because you see the cage, and just a cage evokes an emotion from some people right away. These athletes are trained leading up to the event. They have to come in on weight, which lets us know, okay, whether or not this person took their training serious. If they come in overweight, at that point, depending on how much they come overweight, you turn the question over to the opponent. Hey, this guy came in 5 pounds over. Do you want to take the fight? A lot of times, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. You have to get blood work, and your blood work has to stay current every 6 months to make sure you have no bloodborne diseases. On top of that, you do a doctor's check, either before your weigh-in or the fight night. They do one as well, where the doctor takes your blood pressure. Checks your heartbeat, listens to your breathing, make sure there's nothing wrong with you physically. If you're a female, you have to turn in whenever you show up on fight night, you have to take a pregnancy test to make sure you're not pregnant. And then
I would have never thought about all that.
Got to do all that. And then after the bout, you get checked out by the doctor. If you have any cuts, they sew you up. If an injury is great enough where you need to be transported to a hospital, maybe you feel like you broke a bone in your foot or you hurt something, you fill out a claim. All of our fighters are insured. You fill out a claim, and you move forward from there.
Yeah. Well, you've thought about it, man. So I'm really intrigued. So I have a personal question.
Sure.
I'm 60 years old, former football player myself, military. I'm a little fascinated by MMA and gladiators and all the the work you're doing to help people. And I love that it has such a benefit on confidence. But tell me, a 60-year-old guy who's a former athlete like many months ago, getting weaker, and I need to just get ready for my 80s if I'm blessed to get there. What will it do for me in my life? And what does it do for your other students and their lifestyle?
A body in motion stays in motion.
Yeah.
We don't get old because of the things we do. We get old because we stop doing those things. I'm a big believer in that. Every week I train with a black belt. He's 72 years old, Mr. Craig.
Really?
And he's a guy that came to us right around your age, and he just took his time. And the biggest thing that detracts older people from doing jiu-jitsu is that they feel they have to keep up with the younger people. Mm-hmm. And that's not just older people. I'll expound on that too. I'll even say that the biggest thing that deters people or discourages people in jiu-jitsu is the comparing themselves to other people.
Yep.
We're all on our own journey, whether in life or on the mat. As soon as you start comparing yourself and your growth to other people, you're robbing yourself of the gratification of what you achieve, because there's always going to be somebody bigger. There's always going to be somebody better. There's always going to be somebody who moves faster. Even at the world championships, there's only one world champion per weight class. Everybody else, if we were to compare ourselves to that, we'd be failures, right? You got to go. You got to go at your own pace. I believe you also have to check your ego. Sometimes whenever you're doing things, the price of admission to get better at something is you got to suck at first.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And a lot of people have a hard time dealing with that fact. I just got tied up like a pretzel by somebody that weighs half my weight. A grown man. I can't believe that young lady who's in her early 20s just, wrapped her arm around my neck and choked me silly. A lot of people sometimes can't handle that.
Yeah.
And, if you can't handle not being great at something, you don't deserve to be great at whatever you're doing.
That's right. That's right.
And that's the admission. Everybody was horrible at what they did. Everybody was a beginner at one point in time. Only thing that sets me out from everybody that's not a black belt is I just didn't quit when it got hard. You just show up, and it will get hard. Now, it's funny. I had a guy email me this morning. I responded to his email and he wanted some tips. And I said, you got to enjoy the good days, but appreciate the bad days. Because the bad days are going to teach you more about what you're trying to achieve than any of the good days. You got to surround yourself with people that are encouraging you. The world's going to have plenty of doubters no matter what you do. And it's up to you to kind of tune those people out and surround yourself with people that are moving you forward. And then finally, the last thing I told him, I said, don't be satisfied with good performances. Good is the worst enemy of better.
No doubt.
And as soon as you start to get complacent, you're on your way out. There's no two ways about it. Outside of that, the power of showing up, even the days when you don't feel like coming, those are the most important days to show up, because you're building the discipline. One of my favorite authors is Jocko Willing.
Oh yeah, I love him.
And discipline, motivation is going to fail you. Ain't nobody around Thanksgiving or Christmas was still screaming "New Year, New Me." They weren't. not at that point in the year, right?
It was screaming pie and
yeah. So the motivation of the new year wears off quick.
Yeah. Yep.
Where's your discipline to carry you whenever that motivation? And if you haven't developed discipline, I mean, that's a you problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's one big thing is, I tell my students this a lot too, is you ever hear the saying, failure is not an option? Failure is an option. Not only is it an option, it's the most readily available option, and it's always there tempting you to take it.
Yeah. It's
up to you to not allow that voice to have a say in your head. And once you figure out that failure or falling short of your goal is not a death sentence, and that you can learn from those failures and grow from them, that's whenever you really start to see your growth skyrocket.
No doubt about it.
No doubt.
Hey, thanks so much for tuning into this episode. I hope that it brought you value and you got some inspiration from what Jared was saying. You know, he mentioned that Ragin Fighting Championships is having some shows coming up, and we're going to go ahead and put those in the show notes. Look, if you or somebody you know would be great on this podcast, I'd love you to send me their name, Jeff at CompanyGrowthAcademy.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode, and continue to lead your people, grow your company, and live your life.